Hello, welcome back to Mountain Gym Card Collectibles. I hope you're having a great week so far now that the weekend is here. Anyway, today I am going to talk about a type of sports card that's more or less just completely swept under the rug and forgotten about for one reason or another. And I'm not sure if maybe this 21st century is going to be the century where these cards become more mainstream. Hopefully they do. But it has to do with the realm of surfing sports cards. Surfing autographed sports cards as well. But today I want to focus on this recent EPack release from Upper Deck that has to do with the World Surfing League. I also want to go over, the fact that, I've been to a lot of sports card shows. I can't remember seeing surfing cards at any of my sports card shows. I grew up skateboarding. I've only gone surfing one time back in 2000 on the state of Washington's West Coast with one of my friends. And you really have to wear, a wetsuit or a dry suit when you go surfing in Washington. Not to mention the fact that the places where we were, they have had great white shark sightings, within a month before I was surfing there. So I was out there floating on my board, nervous as hell, seeing stuff swimming around that was silver. But I enjoy surfing. I just haven't been able to do it enough. And of course, I grew up skateboarding, hanging out with skaters, this and that. But, in the 80s, they didn't really have sports cars dedicated to skating. And I don't really recall seeing anything dedicated to surfing, with all the skateboarding I did, and then even going surfing. I just wish there was more of a dedicated sports card influence company, whatever, to keep pushing this stuff out. So anyway, it's springtime. And for one reason, I enjoy looking at surfing sports cards. Why? I don't know. It's just a nice visual take on sports cards. So anyway, let's get more into it. So here I am at X. Recommend, going to X, check this out for yourself. And just a kind of a short little thing here. The first, and this was released on, this came out on March 28th on X. And it says, and this is from Upper Deck, of course, the first ever World Surf League at World Surf League trading cards are here. Start collecting game day moments cards featuring your favorite surfers from around the globe. New releases will be available on upperdeck.epack.com the Friday following the completion of each championship. So you have to go there for every Friday before each championship. So let's go ahead and click this, see what happens, see where it takes us. But, you obviously still have some that you can check out, add your cart, buy now. They have this number WSL 7 Yagadora, card number 6 Zoe Atkin, card number WSL 8 Carolyn Marks. These are all $5.99 a piece. And you can kind of see, like the dates, when these were released, March 23rd, 2025. So when you're looking for sports cards, you're always looking for scarcity and rarity. And naturally, for one reason or another, surfing sports cards, there just hasn't been much dedication from companies, in the past. And so they just naturally have a scarcity and rarity for their fans, collectors, whatever. So we'll go ahead and click this as well. They have a little World Surf League thing you can follow on X. Like it says here, Surf City, El Salvador, Pro Punta Roca, April 2nd to 12th, 2025. Something to check out if you're into surfing. You'll have some really nice visual stuff here. if I lived on the coast, I live in Montana, I would probably be surfing. Maybe not at my age. I could have a heart attack out there. That's just it. You have to be pretty strong to, practice to push yourself up on the board once the water pressure's there. I just don't know if I could do it. I think if you're a smaller, lighter person, it's easier to do. But I don't know if I would be surfing at my age, but I like to think about it anyway. So, these cards, they give you, an awesome kind of break from the usual status quo sports card collecting. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. All right, so, as I said, check the Friday following the completion of each championship. Okay. So here is the WSL schedule. And they have it set up, January was one event, February was 2 events, March was 1 event, April was 2 events, May is 2 events, June is 2 events, July is 1 event, and August is 2 events. And it just keeps going down, the schedule for the year. And so for this month, April 2nd through the 12th, is Surf City El Salvador Pro. They have it marked as live. And then April 18th to 28th, they have the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach. So there'd be more cards coming out around then. So if you're into buying these cards, over, the Upper Deck EPack site, you're going to want to remember these dates so you can, go back and check them out. I don't have a membership with Upper Deck EPack, but I have thought about it, and maybe this year I will get one. Considering the way that they're doing stuff, it's just a clean way of doing cards, in my opinion, and it's somewhat unique the way they do EPack. So something to consider. And then here I am. I figured we'd check out some eBay surfing cards. Why not? Just to kind of remind you that, this is kind of undiscovered ground. There is rarity. Some of these cards, they're not going for a big price, depending on how much, these individuals purchase these cards for, but, to start us off at the top of the list, they have like the Derek Ho 1992 Beach Sports Surfing Card number 65, Hawaiian Royalty and Surf Legend. Rest in peace, it's just sad that, Derek Ho, passed away. But, there's some other big names that you can chase as well, like when I was growing up, Kelly Slater, comes across. Look at how much they're asking for a Kelly Slater auto, and that's just, hard signed auto, $2,999.99. So if you can run into some of these autos, there may be a lot of value there for the fact that they just naturally have rarity and scarcity. Now, here's one that isn't going for as much. This might be something to consider for an auto. This Sport Kings Volume 2 A39 Kalahi and Dino Surfing auto autograph. I've never heard of them. So just like any other sport, you're going to be dealing with surfers that aren't as popular and have as much name recognition as, say, more classic surfers like Kelly Slater. Here we see, this 2024 Skybox Metal Universe Champions, Carolyn Marks, number 49. There's another Carolyn Marks. Back to Kelly Slater cards. If you have Kelly Slater cards, they seem to hold their value. I've noticed that. PSA 8.5 going for $149.99. It's a 1995 Future Hot Surf Kelly Slater number 91 surf card. Pop one, only one higher. So that's what I mean. It's for one reason. Surf cards are like undiscovered country. With low populations, natural scarcity. There are some bigger names. If you happen to run into some of these bigger names, they do have value. This Kelly Slater keeps popping up. Here's one in 8.5. SGC going for $279.99. So, and that's just a base looking card, if you know what I mean. So even the base cards, their value's up there due to the fact that they have natural rarity and scarcity. Here's another Kelly Slater card, going for $1,995. Yeah, he's a big name. I remember Kelly Slater. When I was growing up, when I was more into doing my skateboarding. But I'd probably break my back on a skateboard now. I wouldn't dare do it. But anyway, here's a good deal for a Kelly Slater auto. This is just a PSA 6, 3888. So it's something to consider with these cards. It's just the natural scarcity, rarity. I'm not going to go too far into this, but I just want to give you a heads up on this product. They had Sports Illustrated for kids cards in there, classic ones as well. So for springtime, if you're looking for kind of a new chase, something fresh, different way to maybe cash in on sports cards, well, you might get into surfing cards, and you might get into Upper Deck's EPack with the World Surfing League. It's something to consider. Overall, it doesn't seem like they're asking a ton of money on those EPacks, so that's great. If you wanted to sign up for the EPack thing, I recommend it. I may end up doing it this year. Why not? I know they offer free EPacks as well, so it might be a good way to get some free goodies. And then again, you might start diving more into the realm of surfing cards, big name surfer autos. Like they just seem to have a natural rarity and scarcity due to the fact they haven't been printed very often, by these companies for one reason or another, which is surprising. Maybe there aren't as many surfing fans as there are football, baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever. But let's just say you go somewhere, you run into a Kelly Slater auto for a good deal. I would recommend jumping on it because you saw the prices that, those autos are going for, and there's other big name surfers out there as well from the past, if you can get any of their memorabilia, surfing cards, whatever. So anyway, I would give this a full thumbs up for the fact that surfing cards are undiscovered country, so this 2025 Upper Deck EPack WSL League surfing set, I definitely think it's worth checking out. Anyway, if you have any different opinions, leave some comments. Thank you to my subscriber base, my recent subscribers. You're the ones that are keeping this channel together. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye.